All right, everybody. So our first review of the day is going to be for the Amazon Prime film, The Bluff. Bluff is a pirate movie here, pirate action film there. Swashbuckler, as is described here, action thriller film. You have Cara Urban, who's in this, who's the villain of it. And I'm probably going to mess up her name. Priyanka Chopra.
Priyanka Chopra.
Priyanka Chopra there, who's in this as well. She's the protagonist there, the hero of this story. Kind of a basic story that we have here. So we have this woman who's, got a rough past there, and she's trying to reform herself, as we see here. She's got a family now. She has a stepsister. She has a son there. But her past is always, with these things happen, comes back to haunt her there. So you have Cara Urban, who's a part of that past, who comes to the island and she's on, and wants something that he feels like is his there. A special kind of treasure there, because always pirates are always looking for some type of treasure. Yeah. And then when are they gonna learn the treasure is what's inside? That's the real treasure.
The real treasure is the friends we made all along the way.
Yeah, that's what's gonna be in the One Piece. It's gonna be like a mirror, and then it's gonna be seeing the whole people that you was friends with.
The real treasure is her being all these people's asses to hell and back.
Yeah. So that's that's the setup you have here of this kind of almost kind of like your Joe Carnahan type film here, like this standoff type movie where it's one person against a whole army of people here, all these other pirates that are with Cara Urban there, part of his crew, and her kind of picking these people off one by one. Pass around, get you guys' thoughts on that. Neil, what are your thoughts on The Bluff?
I do agree with you that this is a very kind of simple setup movie. And, you are right that we've seen this sort of premise and this sort of pirate adventure type thing before. But I thought this was a pretty good action movie. The thing that surprised me the most is how good Priyanka Chopra is in this. She's a legit, very good lead character in this movie. And I thought she did the action scenes very convincingly. And granted, I haven't the only other movie I've seen her in was in a rom-com movie called Love Again years and years ago. But this is a real, turning point for me for her as an actress. And, piggybacking off of that, I thought Carl Urban, who's just on vacation after fighting the armies of Mordor and Homelander, is really good as the villain. So yeah, I like this. I thought this was pretty good.
All right. Nick, did you have as much fun with it as Neil?
Yeah, I had plenty of fun with this. And like you were saying, this is, fairly bare bones, kind of straightforward action film. And with those, the charm in them is how they are packaged, how the action scenes are shot. And if you can get behind if you can have it be grounded by your lead performance, and Priyanka Chopra, she does that handily. A lot of what I know her from is like from network TV. She was in the Baywatch movie and was in Heads of State, which I really liked last year with John Cena and Idris Elba. And she does a great job of grounding this and bringing vulnerability to a lot of the action scenes here, because they aren't clean. She gets her ass whipped a fair bit, and they always manage to sell it.
Yeah. To compare it to some action movies there, I mean, the brutality of it and just how much the character kind of gets hit and gets back up again might remind you of something like Bob Odenkirk's Nobody. Might remind you of something like that. There's a big fight scene when she's in her kitchen and then it spills over outside and all that, and what I mean?
She like gets thrown through the window and like has her back slammed on like a wooden railing, and she's kind of like takes a breath for a minute. It's like
so yeah, a lot of that, you have a lot of that type of action in this, that kind of brutality there. And and I think they sell it well. I mean, we just saw an interview I was playing before where she's talking about it of trying to really sell it, obviously her being a woman and the fact that she is taking on all these men here. How, how's that going to look? Can you make it look believable? And I think for the most part, I think it does. I think it, does
Mhm.
look pretty believable there. And she does a lot of also, shooting. She does also like sneak attacks. She does a lot, so like we saw in the trailer, planting some bombs and wiring that up and setting that off. So there's a lot of that happens. So she does more stuff than just direct combat there.
Right.
Action wise.
As the movie goes on, she definitely gets a bit more strategic with how she takes
Mhm.
these guys on, and I think to me that's kind of what sold the movie because, like, it makes it a more interesting fight when she has to sort of outwit all of her opponents, and like you said, there's she's sneak attacking them, she's setting up booby traps later in the movie, and it makes a more interesting watching experience than her just like decking and stabbing and doing all these things to the guys.
Mhm.
Yeah. And obviously, like we said, I mean, this being a Pirates movie, the probably immediate comparison is going to be to something like Pirates of the Caribbean, and how does it stack up against that? And people have probably seen a Pirates movie since then or anything like that. I mean, the Pirates of the Caribbean, it really isn't a fair comparison, even though they're both around that swashbuckling genre, because the Pirates of the Caribbean was more aiming for a more grander sense of
Mhm.
story, more bigger. I mean, here it's very small and contained. You know what I mean? It's nothing on that scale, so it's not really fair to really compare the two there. And in terms of, if you do like that kind of swashbuckling, as far as like sword fights, you don't really get that level of sword fights, I think, in this to that degree. Like real, like I mean, not. I don't think fencing is when you would call it what they do. They just call it just regular sword fighting, I think. But
Yeah,
you don't.
yeah. I don't know the like specific style that they do in the Pirates movies, but yeah, it is sword fighting, and
Yeah,
I feel like there is a little bit of that, but the fighting in here is a lot more, a lot dirtier.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like I said, more comparisons to something like Nobody, a lot of those type of more action movies than something like Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, and I think Carl Urban, I mean, he's having a lot of fun. I mean, in the role that he's playing there.
My
He
man's.
does.
I think I watched a trailer for this and I could not pin down what his accent was. And I think it was like he's been playing Billy Butcher for too long. So he like is doing like Irish Butcher.
Yeah, because he's supposed to be an
Yeah.
Irish guy, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think
Francis
I
O'Connor.
think
Yeah.
he's supposed to be Irish, but his accent is kind of all over the place. It's like different in every scene almost.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that noticed that because, like, I like Carl Urban in this movie, but, like, I
Mhm.
couldn't really get a picture about where his character was from, and it's sort of like it's like you said, he's Billy Butcher, he's got a little bit of his native New Zealand accent, he's, like, got an Irish accent, it's, like, kind of a very strange amalgamation of sounds.
It is a very odd performance, but I could not look away.
Yeah. Speaking about accents, I wonder what you all think of Chopra, her accent there, because so she's supposed to be a woman from the Caribbean.
Mhm.
And obviously, she's a woman who is Indian there. I wanted Did you think she nailed her accent there of being a Caribbean woman, or you think it was?
Well, they get into more of her origin later in the movie, but that's kind of spoilers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But did you have any issues with her accent or anything like that? Or no, you thought it was pretty
No,
decent?
I thought it was fine.
Okay. Very good there. What about you, Neil?
Yeah, it seemed fine. It sounded like her natural speaking voice, at least to me, but I thought it was fine. It was not distracting or anything like that.
Okay. And I don't know if Amazon Prime, I don't know if they have the same kind of stuff going on as Netflix, where they do a thing where you have to reiterate the plot or premise of the script
No.
there three times in the movie or anything. But do you think it's hindered at all by its super simplicity there kind of going on?
No, not at all. I mean, with action movies, I feel like the simpler you go with its plot, the better, because
Mm,
you're not really here for that. You're here more for the trappings, for the style, for the action scenes.
yeah. And I'm playing a little bit now. I mean, yeah, they are
Mhm.
impressive to watch. I mean, I think they are kind of really fun, and they do well with that. Very good.
Yeah, yeah, the simple plot didn't really bother me all that much, just because like with this kind of movies, like Nick said, you're here for more of the action scenes, and I thought, the sort of down and dirty kind of action scenes they had really carried this movie through.
Yeah. Do you like the dynamic between Karl Urban and Priyanka Chopra there? Do you like that dynamic between the two of them?
I did. I thought they played really well on each other, and once you kind of get to the point where they're more explaining what their story together is,
Mm.
I thought it was convincing, and I thought it gave enough motivation for both the characters to do the things they do, and yeah, I thought they played really well together.
Mm.
Yeah, likewise.
Okay. Neil, what would be your final thoughts? Rating for the Bluff.
My final thoughts are that this is a pretty fun little action movie. I don't think it's going to be. I think it's a really good movie for its intended purpose, and I think Priyanka Chopra and Carl Urban give really solid performances. So this is a low tune in. I would genuinely recommend it to people. It's a
Mhm.
fun time.
Okay. Low tune in. What about you there, Nick?
Yeah, likewise. Has really good performances from Priyanka Chopra and from Carl Urban. The action scenes, those are what you're here for, and they deliver. It's fun. It gets in and out, and it's right at home on streaming. So I'll give this like a very high stream it.
All right. I guess I'll be in the middle of you two. I give it
Mhm.
just a regular stream it there. Yeah, like I said, I mean, the action scenes are impressive where they are, and this director of this is a guy named Frank E. Flowers there. There, I have not heard of him before there. But he's the director of this, and I think he does a good job with the action sequences there. And that's really what you're mainly seeing this for. I know with a lot of streaming movies, people got other things going on. They're
Mhm.
texting, they're doing laundry, you know what I mean? A bunch of so watching another show on their laptop while they're watching a movie. Um, I think it keeps you engaged enough if you're that brain rotted, and it's not that long of a movie there. If you just wanted to see something there, it was like, oh, okay, that was cool and fun, you know what I mean? Just for that little, I think this movie's an hour and about 40 something minutes
Yeah.
there for that there. And it's not that super deep of a story or anything like that. So you can, you know what I mean, really pick it up pretty easily there. So yeah, and I enjoy Priyanka Chopra's performance there. I think she does well in the action sequences. I think Carl Urban's having a good time with this. Tamir Morrison, good to see him some other stuff besides Star Wars there.
Mhm.
Them teeth working well still. So them shining. That's the brightest thing on the fucking beach there is them teeth.
Right.
And you still got that. So that was kind of cool to see him there and working that out. So I'll give it just kind of a yeah, kind of just a regular kind of stream there for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Priyanka, get in another action movie. I'd like to see you in another lead role like this.
Yeah, yeah, good to see. Call up, what's his name who did John Wick?
Yeah, Chad Stahelski.
Chad Stahelski. Call up Chad Stahelski, yeah. Do something like
I'd
that.
watch it. I'd watch it.
I mean, she looks more believable than in an action movie than Nick Jonas or anybody like that. I believe her 10 times more than fucking Nick Jonas. So yeah. So Neil gives it a tune in. Nick gives
Yeah.
it a high stream it, and I just give it a regular stream it for the bluff on Amazon Prime now.